Indeed, you're watching Good Morning Kenya. Let's get into a second conversation. Welcome to the program. My name is Mike Migwi. We are talking about how organizations can align their strategies to the new realities. And in this case, the new realities is this new generation called Generation Z. And in studio, I'm joined by Sophia Okello, who is the head of DevOps at Jambopay. Karibu to the program.
Thank you so much.
And also Ms. Grace Gathu, who is the head of HR at Jambopay. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Mike.
And Mr. Allan Bosire, who is a software engineer at Jambopay. Mko salama?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about, first of all, when is Gen Z?
Yeah, definitely.
How does it feel to be Gen Z?
Powerful.
Yes.
Empowering.
And you have your voice heard. Now, let's talk about how organizations can align themselves to this new reality now. And we're speaking about is the future of work. How do you think organizations, according to you, can align themselves and meet maybe the standards probably of the Gen Z?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'd like to say is I think we should embrace technology, first of all, because most of the Gen Zs, we are on social media. Basically, technology is our day-to-day life. And also, we should be flexible in terms of getting rid of the rigid structure. Like, by rigid structure, I mean that there are those things that if you go to an organization, you are told that we cannot change. But it is a high time that we change and we welcome flexibility because let me assure you, you're getting people with fresh minds, fresh talents, like people who are coming in there to show that they can create amazing products. They want to enhance your brand and they want your company to move forward. So, yeah.
Let me come to you, Ms. Okello. How do you think, that is Gathu, sorry for that. How do you think organizations are adapting to this new reality?
Well, Mike, right now with what is happening, it's important for us to have change management because this is a generation that is not the same as the different generations, the millennials and the other generation Y. So it is important for us, first of all, for organizations. The one thing that I've noticed with Gen Zs, they want transparency and communication. You just need to give them the truth as it comes. They don't like beating around the bush. So it is very important for us as organizations and even professionals in the industry for us to be very transparent with this generation and also in terms of communication. Communication is everything. We need to communicate the strategies. We need to communicate some of the things that the corporates are doing and also introducing them in leadership. For instance, at Jambopay, we have some Gen Zs who are sitting in the management level so that they can be able to hear them out, understand what the industry wants and also at the same time integrate it with what the corporate and the organization strategy is. Yes.
According to you, Bwana Bosire, how do you think organizations are changing to meet the new reality that is involving a new workforce now that is entering the job market?
Okay, so an organization or a company will always work according to its own interests, it is said. So right now I've seen organizations set up platforms where young people can go in and showcase their ideas, the innovative ideas, and they can be taken up and adopted into the organization. So I think that among other things like management, we can have good management and because it's all about really the drive that people have is just about transparency, as my colleague has said. So once you have that good management, we have a good flow of information. We can always see a boost in like productivity in organization and revenue streams rise here. Yeah.
Sophia, why do you think it is important for organizations to give room for this new crop of workforce to enhance their creativity?
Okay. So the reason why it's important is at the end of the day, we want to create a brand that will be there for the longest time possible. So for us to do that, we need to bring in people who are out there, like people who are on social media. They're out there listening to what people are saying. There's new talent that is coming in. And if you want to reach a level in your business where you want to thrive, you should always be able to welcome new talents and new ideas that are coming in. So yeah.
You mentioned something about flexibility, and
Yeah.
also it touches down to responsiveness, because if the work is flexible in a way, the workforce will be responsive.
Yeah.
What are some practices that organizations that can adopt, or you have seen organizations adopt, that can enhance this flexibility?
So there are things such as flexible working hours. For example, we have institutions where they have work from home. So we are normally on our machines, so working from home is not an issue anymore in terms of accountability. You can easily work from home, finish everything that you're doing, and you're going to be productive. And also, if you can't adopt a fully work from home environment, you can try hybrid. Some days you come to the office, some days you work from home, and you'll notice your employees are going to be very productive, because every day, if I'm coming to the office every day, maybe I live in Kajiado. So it's going to take me like to and fro, it's like 4 hours on the road. If I was at home, I would have done something productive within those 4 hours. Plus everything is within reach. There's nothing like traffic, no noise. It's just you focusing on your work. Yes.
Let me come to you. How do you think remote work affects productivity? Does it contribute to it, or there's some downside to it?
Well, there are pros and cons when it comes to working from home. And as what my colleague has said, the pros. But the cons is, with working from home, the difference is you don't interact with people. And there's an importance of us interacting with one another. Because, I mean, when you're working from home, you're just there with your machine. So you wouldn't be able to interact with different people. So working from home has both pros and cons. But with the way things are going, and with the way the awareness that is coming in with the Generation Z, that they really have projected out that they really want to work from home. So corporates have now opened up their minds to letting now these teams, because what you do is you put in tools that will monitor these people when they're working from home. There are different tools that you just monitor, plug and play, and put in the machine, where you can be able to monitor that this person has done complete 8 hours when they're working from home. Yes.
Mr. Bosire, what about technologies or technologies that organizations can adapt to ensure that they have enhanced productivity and efficiency?
Okay, so I'm just going to start with what is hot right now.
Yes.
And that is AI. So organizations can integrate AI into their workflow patterns. So perhaps you can, they're like large language models, image generation tools, even audio, and even they're coming out now for video. So for example, making a PowerPoint presentation, it's just about having notes and putting in a prompt and getting a PowerPoint presentation, rather than spending maybe, was it 2 hours, just trying to place images and all that inside PowerPoint or other publications. So AI is one of them. Another thing is just communication tools, because communication is really important when it comes to organization. So right now, there are solutions like Microsoft Teams, like Zoom, that can help organizations keep communications like streams clean inside the company. So there's that.
What about the aspect of Internet of Things? Is it in a way playing a role in making sure that there is enhanced productivity, and also a company is able to tap into that aspect of getting the best brains to do the work?
So when it comes to IoT, IoT just simply means machine-to-machine interaction. So maybe your phone is communicating with your HVAC or thermometer somewhere, and they're able to share information. So these devices can be used to monitor employees, maybe. They can have cameras and monitoring employees and whatnot. So these IoT can be really be taken advantage of. This is a tool set, these tools are there. So it's just about taking advantage of them to make them do whatever you want them to do. So
let me throw this question to both of you, because there's a generation that knows what it wants. They are very tech savvy. So what role does the big data analytics play in all this, especially when it comes to decision making? Let me start with you.
I think for you to, especially, let me start by saying, if you want to create a product, basically. You need like the audience that you're focusing on. So for you to have the audience that you're focusing on, you need data. You need to analyze who your audience is, their age, their pain points, whatever they need, and everything else. So data analytics is very important because it also helps in things like projections. You know, you can view your transactions value. Maybe if you have like an application that's maybe on a platform like Play Store, you get to view why your installs, things like your uninstalls, you get to know why are people not installing this app. Like maybe you get feedback, like how are we going to work on whatever they have said based on the data that you're getting out there to make our product better for our user. So data analytics is very, very important, and it's a high time people embrace that because it will help in making all the future business decisions that you need to make.
Please respond to the same, and also from your own assessment, are organizations now investing more in data analytics to help them advance their business interests?
Okay, so data. Companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, they built their companies over data, just collecting people's data. Your phone is always collecting information about you. Your location, when you take a picture, it always tags metadata on it, like where you are, the kind of phone you're using. And so all this data is collected, and companies can analyze it and be able to draw some correlations from it. So perhaps you are, and these correlations can be like which market has the higher propensity towards buying a particular product. Where is it best to advertise something? So that's what people do when they go to advertise on Google. So Google can help you like place ads towards a targeted audience, and they can help you grow your company towards a specific niche or something like that.
Are organizations changing their mindset as to how they do their recruiting, especially now, given that they are dealing with a generation that is very much aware of what they want and where they are going?
Yes. I'll give you a case in scenario where right now the interview process is not the same as it was previously. When you're interviewing Gen Zs, they want you to go straight into the point. They don't want these questions of tell me about yourself. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? There's a shift now because they really want to know what is being tabled. One thing that I've realized is they want to know about the working culture. They want to know if this organization is going to support me in terms of my mental health. They also want to know in terms of equality, in terms of pay. There's that structured things that the Gen Z are looking for. So the shift has, in terms of recruitment, it has changed. And in terms of also feedback, because I know in the previous, probably in terms of recruitment, at times it takes time for the recruiters or the HR professions to give out feedback. Now they're very invested in getting to know, in as much as maybe I did an interview and I did not make it to the final stages. I want to know where I can change. What can I do better to better myself in the next phase of the interview?
So they want instant feedback of where they fit.
Yes.
How is that panning out?
Well, for I would say it's also a challenge to us, for the millennials, because in the previous, you would take time before you respond to these people. But now it has opened us up to having transparency. With all honesty, it's all about transparency, because there are instances a Gen Z will come and tell you, let's not waste each other's time. Tell me what you want. Am I the best fit? If not, then let me go. So it is also making us to be more transparent, more effective in terms of communication, and now also as organization putting in place some of the key things that the Gen Zs are looking for in the corporates. Yes.
There's also the aspect of social responsibilities as one way to attract this new crop of the workforce. Are companies capitalizing on it enough to ensure that it's a way of attracting new talent through corporate social responsibilities? Yes.
I'll give you an example of where we work. We have put a lot of initiatives in place. We usually have, yearly, we usually ensure that we have a corporate CSR that we do. Also, there's a tree planting that we've done in the previous. We have a section where we've gone and planted trees. And even in the organization, we usually ensure that we have month on month, there are activities that are helping us in even to create the community in the organization. For instance, the previous week we just had an appreciation week where we just sat down, and this is an initiative from the Gen Z, because they say we understand different departments do different things. Why don't we appreciate one another as an organization? There are times where there's also the customer service week where now we appreciate all our customers. We bring in even the customers, other than just working in-house, we also bring in the customers into place. Yeah.
And that the response has been positive?
Yes, it has been positive, because like I earlier mentioned, is right now the workforce, for instance, at Jambopay, the workforce is probably, Gen Zs are probably 50%, if not 60%. So when you introduce these things, they appreciate that you're hearing them. Their voice is being heard, and they can actually give out feedback and they feel comfortable that the organization has them at heart. Yeah.
Let me come to you. What do you think of leadership programs that focuses on diversity in a bid to mentor the new workforce now to rise to maybe management levels?
I think that should not be even subjected to opposition, because as we know, we are the leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah,
that is very true. So as soon as organizations start to mentor Gen Zs, then we are going to have good leaders, because now it is a time we've realized that these are people who know what they want. They know how to go about their business. Like, they've been out there, they've witnessed everything. So if leadership programs are put into place, then I think it is going to benefit everyone, because now we are going to get good leaders for our company, because we can't say that millennials will be there forever. At some point in your life, you have to pass your torch to someone else. So for you to have your brand enhancement, for you to have the continuity of your business, you have to start embracing the fact that there are going to be new leaders, and make sure that you're working with leadership programs that you have out there to make sure that you mentor these young people to be the future of tomorrow, because that is where we are going. Even if we decide that we have this rigid structure, maybe you get someone in position who's like 70 years, at some point there's someone who's going to come in and is going to shake the place, and is going to put new things into perspective, is going to bring in a new innovation. So it's a high time we accept that and nurture that. Yes.
Mr. Bosire, what do you think of giving that opportunity for the young workforce now to take up leadership roles, but through mentorship?
Okay, so the thing about mentorship, it enables people to gain the skills needed to take on these roles that they are to take on. So in as much as we aspire to be in those leadership positions, you cannot just be placed there and be expected to know everything. So there's always a level of experience that is needed when it comes to that. So and I think mentorship is one of those things that really help. It's like learning on the job, really. So when you can do that, it's good, because it enables you to gain the experience and the wisdom you need to in your future role. So yeah.
In terms of career development, are there career development paths and mentorship programs that organizations need to be aware of, so that they can ensure that even if that they do not have a vacuum in case of somebody has left work?
So yes, that is very possible, and I'll talk about it in two aspects. The first one is succession planning. It's important for organizations to have succession planning. Of course, you won't be in a company for the rest of your lifetime. So it is important for you. What we've done is, for instance, we have people who are shadowing one another, so that they can be able to learn from one another. In the case where someone else moves out of that space, there's someone who can easily take up the position. And then number two is something that we have at the company, is called work buddy. So work buddy is, I get you attached to, for instance, for the tech, you'll find a senior developer, we attach them with a junior developer, so that they can be able to exchange the knowledge and be able to understand because the senior has probably 10 years experience compared to the junior who has 2 years experience. So when they have that knowledge interaction and sharing, it helps us, and it helps organizations to position people and the generation that is coming in, the Gen Z, to position them in where that they can be able now to grow and can be able now to easily work on systems and also do marketing and do pitches alone without even having the senior management or the people who've been in organizations for a long time. Yeah.
Doesn't that make one person feel like their job is threatened?
No. We need to embrace it, Mike. We need to embrace it because things do happen. You people get greater opportunities and they live and they grow, and we allow people to fly and grow. But at the same time, it is important for you to share your knowledge because as it is, as my colleague has said, we won't be there forever. This new generation is going to come, and the Gen Z are really smart. At times, you would be surprised the information and the knowledge that they give us that is quite tremendous, and that's why I'm saying it is important for organizations, even employees, to embrace the issue of succession planning and work buddies. Yes.
How do you feel, or how do you think organizations should handle feedback from Gen Z?
First of all, I think they should be open-minded because feedback is what can make a product to be good or bad. Because people out there are the ones who are using these services. So if I come and tell you, oh, your app does not do 1, 2, 3. So instead of just brushing me off and assuming that maybe I'm not your target market, you should focus on what I'm saying to make a product better. So we should be all open-minded. We should allow any feedback, whether it's constructive, whether it's destructive. It is what makes a business. It's the same way we say we have losses, sometimes we make profits. Sometimes there are risks, sometimes there isn't. So we should handle feedback well and structure it in a way that we're going to push it towards making maybe a product better or whatever service we're offering better. Yes.
Mr. Bosire, we are talking about feedback, but also how you put that feedback also matters. How can now Gen Zs who are in the workforce now structure their feedback in a manner that can be responded to at any given time?
Okay, so on the developer's part, it's for you to categorize this feedback in the level of importance or how urgent it is. So to the least important. So, and it's for you to take each of these feedback in accounting when it comes to making changes to your product or developing a product. So the thing about feedback is it's what informs how a product should be, because sometimes as a developer you have an entire workflow in your mind, but when it gets to the user it's completely different. And the user has certain expectations that are not accounted for. The user maybe makes some mistakes and you need to account for those mistakes. Maybe there's some issues, maybe internet connectivity. So there's a lot of things that you need to keep track on when it comes to developing a product. So feedback, like I said, helps inform how to develop a good product. So.
Yes. Ms. Gathu, how you are in the HR, how do you handle feedback from this young generation of the workforce? Because in a way, there's a way they want things done there and then. How do you handle such situations? And how should companies now deal with that?
Like I earlier mentioned, is their feedback is very transparent. They will not sugarcoat things. If they don't like a process, if they don't like something that doesn't sit well with them, they will clearly say it.
Yes.
So it is for us as organizations to be open-minded and to... Previously, organizations were a little bit closed in terms of receiving feedback from employees. But right now, we just need to be as open and as transparent as possible and just get this feedback. And then from the feedback that we get in organizations, let's work around making this feedback, and probably if it's in terms of products or processes, let's make sure that their feedback actually brings out benefit so that they can be able to say if it's probably a product or a process that they gave out a feedback, the process has been worked on and there's a change. So it also comes in with change management. Receiving feedback, positively, both if it's criticism or it's negative feedback, receive it, and at the same time work on it. Organizations should now work on those things. And this is where now you bring in different committees in the company. Yeah. So for instance, if it is in terms of a product, have these people who are giving you the feedback of this product, put them in an innovation committee, put them to champion these things, to be the change management or to be the change champions on these issues that they've brought up.
So involving them in the decision-making process will help in getting a feel of the actual idea of the feedback that they have.
Yes, because now they will be able to understand that, of course, that there are structures that have been set in the organization. Now, when you put them in front so that they can be able to understand what is going on, they can now also be, the thing is they also open up and see that actually, yes, the company and the organization it has us at heart and they're thinking about that, but at the same time now they can be able to see that the process that was once placed there, there were reasons why they were placed there, and now they can be able now to change it. So it is important for them, for organizations to put them at the front of this change management. Yes.
Bosire, besides talking about adapting to the new workforce, there's also the aspect of customer-centric approach towards selling a company selling products to especially this generation. What do you think are the best practices that companies can apply and make sure that they not only get the best brains on the part of the workforce, but also get the best customers for their products?
Okay, so it's all about marketing, right? And knowing your product. So there are two ways you can approach it. So you can have a product and want to market it, or you can go and investigate the market and try to find out the product that they need. So if you have a product, you just carve out your niche from the market. You can have campaigns, add campaigns online. If you need to go out to the market, you need to do some research, to get some surveys, to maybe identify a gulf somewhere as a problem that needs solving. And some of these problems, they even come from personal experiences. And in terms of gaining the best workforce, I think that's just about the interviewing process. So as a developer, I can say that the interviewing process has really advanced. Nowadays, there are like, even before you get to the physical interview, there are like online interviews where you're supposed to pass some particular tests, and they're always like monitored to make sure you're not cheating or anything like that. You're not using AI. So I think where you're heading to is the right direction in terms of interviewing, and in terms of marketing and the products. I think that is for the company to ensure that they put their best foot forward. Yeah.
Ms. Sophia, we are living in a world where the internet has made everything possible. Are companies capitalizing customer data enough to personalize their products to meet the needs of the customer?
So I can say some companies have started showing up. It's no longer like the traditional method. You find people advertising their products on Instagram. Some people are even doing that on TikTok. So I think some companies, yes, some organizations, yes, some no. Maybe they don't know how to approach that. But that being said, I think it is essential because it is now like a marketplace. We no longer go to the physical market to get something. You know, if I want something, I'll go to Instagram, I'll get someone who'll sell it to me, share my data with everything, including my location, and then the person will deliver the good. So we no longer go to the physical market anymore. Everything is happening over the internet. So it's a high time organizations, like even if you can hire an expert to maybe guide you on that, but the internet is where the real marketplace is. It's no longer the physical shops anymore. And also they should think about how to capitalize on things like loyalty. So if I go and buy something on Instagram and I get a good vendor, someone who's honest, someone who delivers on time, someone whose brand is really authentic. So the chances of me recommending such a product to my friend is very high. The friend will recommend that product to another friend and the cycle continues. So as I've said earlier, the internet is where the real marketplace is. So maybe they should ensure that they tap into such a market. Also, data are online. you'll get statistics on Google of how many people are on Instagram, how many people are shopping on Instagram, how many people are advertising on things like Facebook. So they should be able to use search so that they can make the organization better and also their products to be out there. Yeah.
All right. We continue this conversation after this short break. Indeed, you're watching The Viewpoint on Good Morning Kenya. We are talking about how organizations can align their strategies to meet the new realities. Now, let me start with you, Ms. Gathu. The aspect of mental wellness, because the Gen Zs need to feel like they are connected to and committed to their job. What or how should companies approach this aspect? Yes. Okay,
so mental health has become an issue that is well now spoken about. And I think for organizations, what they can do is, I know May is usually a month for mental health wellness. So organizations need to be really at the forefront, and having just different speakers come to talk about different things in the organization. So you'll find out in different organizations at where I work, where we are at a Jambopay, we usually have sessions where mental health is quite broad. There's financial well-being, there's the physical well-being, and there's now the mental well-being, and then just wholesomely. So we usually have, in the month of May, we usually have different speakers who come to speak on these issues, yeah? And then also, organizations need to embrace that it's not always that you can always just work in the office. Can you have days where you just go out of the office and have a day off? It's just in terms of the different activities that you bring in place, yeah? So another thing that I think organizations need to do, for instance, at Jambopay, we've introduced something that is called a duvet day. So what a duvet day is a day where you feel like you just want to sleep in. Okay, you feel you're exhausted, you're tired.
You mentioned that, and I was like, do you allow people come with duvets to the office?
Not really. So on that day, there are times, as the head of departments, they will see the output of the different people in the organization, and they will feel like, Sophie needs a duvet day, and we give you a duvet day, and we don't deduct it from your leave days. Yeah. So it is very important for organizations to come with initiatives that will be able to help people have their mental state at a good pace, because we spend 8 hours at work. So you spend a lot of time with these people in the organization. So put in things, have a healthy bar in terms of a place where people can eat snacks, have fruits, have different things that people can come and do in the organization that will just enable them. When they're having that 5 minutes break walking to the kitchen, they know that at least they are now okay by the time they're going back to their desk. Yes.
And that duvet day it's for everyone.
Yes.
But there's a way, but it's not like it's a day that is dedicated to...
No. It's not a day that is dedicated to that day. No, it's in the whole year. There are days where you feel you're tired, mentally, physically, and you just come in and say, I want a duvet day, and we give you that day.
Yes.
Yes.
Bosire, what do you think about the mental wellness aspect, in the sense that this crop of new workforce want to feel engaged?
Okay, so a lot of Gen Zs, they really they're more aware, I believe, about their mental health compared to previous generations. People are much more willing to express themselves. They're much more willing to get into self-help if they need it. And when it comes to the workforce, you can have problems when you have a backlog of tasks that you're not done, maybe you're performing well. And or maybe you're working on something and you're facing a problem and it's not really working out for you. You have been looking at the screen for hours and you cannot find where the problem is. Yes. I'm speaking from a developer point of view. So it helps to pace yourself, to take breaks, and to be aware of how much time you're actually putting into the work. Because there's this thing we call the zone, and sometimes when you're coding and it's silent, you can get into the zone and you can code for 6 hours, and that is not healthy. So it's sometimes good to maybe set an intervention would be setting alarms between 2 hours, because just to give a break to yourself, that you don't crumble. Because after some time you can't get any work done. You start making reverse progress instead of moving forward. So that's what I have in terms of mental health.
Ms. Sophia, what about the aspect of cultivating strong relationship with the employer? from that aspect of ensuring that these people are well catered for in terms of their mental health?
Yeah. I think that's important because if you look at other generations, so you'll find out that there are people who've never even met their boss. They don't know what their boss does. Like, they're used to you do your work. You know, no one cares about your feelings, your emotions, like how are you? You know, sometimes someone can ask you how are you, and that can make a very huge difference in your life, or it can make or break your day. So I think employers should maintain a good relationship with the employees, of course. They should not like segregate themselves because maybe they're top level and they don't want to interact with the others. Because interacting with the employees means you get to know the feeling in terms of what's the workplace like. That's where you get the ideas on what you need to improve on, or you get to learn about their personalities and how you can handle them. You get to understand why someone tells you in the morning that I don't feel like I'm going to be productive at work today because I'm feeling some type of way. And we've also had instances where someone is being stigmatized because you've said that mentally you're not okay. You know, people are calling you mad or telling you are just pretending. So these are the new things that we need to embrace. We need to know people so that we can move forward. So we always say there's the spirit of Ubuntu. There's that togetherness. So in as much as you're top level, you need to understand your employees, sit down with them, understand how they're feeling, understand how the company is taking them. Is the missions, the goals, the targets for the year realistic for them? Have that conversation so that you can see how the organization is going. It also will help you in making other decisions in the future.
So, Ms. Gathu, according to what she has said, this is bringing some sense of openness between the employer and employee.
Yes.
How does that impact the operations of the company?
Well, as the like she said, leadership and the management and the employees should be two. The one is high and the other one is low. There needs to be, that gap needs to be bridged as it is right now. And this now brings about having an open policy in the organization, where you'll find out right now it's easy for employees to easily access the CEO. We need to have such kind of structures where it doesn't have to, you have to go through this person, because at times when an employee is out of touch or out of reach with the manager or with the CEO or the director of the company, there's always the employee will not be able to carry the vision of the organization, and at the same time the CEO is not also going to be able to carry the vision of the employee. So it is important for us to merge these two between and avoid to have that gap in between, and ensure that there's communication, there's transparency, there's feedback, like I said, real-time feedback. Yes.
Let's come to the aspect of equal pay. We are dealing with the generations that has expectations, especially when they come from school. They want to get into that space where they can earn the big bucks.
Yes.
How do you handle such cases?
Well, those cases are always there, and it's interesting because it's like they want instant. They want to be at where senior developer in terms of pay, But the thing is that they need to understand that when there usually structures when it comes to salary and compensation, there are structures that are well placed, and the different factors that usually are in play whenever we're doing in terms of salaries. And one of them is usually your experience. How many years have you been in this industry? Number two, in terms of also the educational level, because you'll find a senior developer, the types of educational level that they have and someone who's just come into the market space is quite different. So there's that number of years, the education also works in place, and also another thing is, we're not saying that we will underpay agencies. No, they just need to understand and trust the process, that you will grow up in the ladder as you progress in your career. Of course, you won't get the same salary as someone who's been there for 2 years, no. But at the same time, we're not saying that you underpay them. There just needs to be a balance between the two. So it's also for the Gen Z to also embrace and understand that there are structures, and if you grow with the company, you will also grow in terms of your pay. Yes.
How do you think they should manage their expectations?
No, okay, so that I think just comes to experience. Like how long have you been coding or doing your work. So, of course, if you've been in the industry for 20 years, there's a lot of knowledge that comes along with you, which is invaluable to the company. So it's all about what value you bring to the table. Of course, you're not just going to bring in anyone and just give them a blank check and it's not economically viable. So it's just if you recognize that the value you bring is much more than what you're being compensated for, then you're always eligible to ask for like a pay raise or something like that. And if you work at a fair organization, they're going to listen and they're going to award you that. Yeah, that's it.
Let me ask you this. What do you think organizations, should there be a way that organizations collaborate with, let's say, universities in ensuring that they are getting the right workforce in their companies?
Yes, that is very important because that's where most of the talent is. We've had instances where we have things in software development. There's this thing we call hackathon. So in a hackathon, you're given a product or a project, and then you're given time to brainstorm, to come up with a solution, and then maybe the winner gets a prize and stuff like that. So if you do things like that, first of all, we are really promoting talent, and we are showing the people that are in universities that out there's an opportunity for you. Because there are people who will go to university and then at the end of your 4 years, 6 years, or how many years you've done in university, will start wondering, where will I go after all these years? Is my career really going to help me? So I think organizations should really mentor the people that are in universities. You can set up like a mentorship program, and then you pick some students in a certain faculty, mentor them, offer internship opportunities just to help them grow and, become something in the society. We have so many people who are jobless because they've never gotten a chance to really do what they want to do, or organizations that are maybe rigid and they don't want to really help these people. So there should be things like mentorship program. There should be things like, if you're a tech company, things like hackathon, like really be out there for them, because in like 10 years time, they're the same people who will come in and take positions in your company. So the earlier people are mentored and given opportunities, the better.
Yes. Yeah. Ms. Gathu, talk about the aspect of and the importance of having personal development opportunities, especially for this new crop of workforce.
It's important for organizations to, and this usually plays in it, especially when it comes to budgeting. When we're doing budgets, it's important for organizations to put an amount or a budget for personal development in terms of their career growth. Yeah. So they're and as I said, they're very hungry for knowledge and they want to learn. And if we don't have such kind of structures in the organizations, they will be. Now is where you find out that people will feel like they are not, their values and the things that they demand is not being met. So it is important for organizations to have also partnerships and also cross partnerships with different institutions. For instance, if probably there's an institution that is having a boot camp for the developers, pay for your developers, let them go. If it is in terms of business, let business department, they're usually business forums that are usually there. Encourage your teams to go for these things so that they can be able to be developed. At the same time, organizations can also choose to go deeper and sponsor an employee. And by this is by, if you see that there's an employee, for instance, if it's a code, and you see that there's one of your best developers is really good when it comes to Django, or that's one of the software development codes. If you see there's that, take 2 years. Take this person to school, because when you empower that person, they come back to empower your organization. Build and invest so much in the employees, because at the end of the day, they are the engine of the company. So if you don't invest in them, they will not invest in your company. So it has to be a two-way traffic. Invest in them, and they will come back and invest in the organization. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let me start with you. Your closing remarks.
Sorry?
Yeah, your closing remarks.
Oh, okay. What I'd like to say is, let us embrace change. There are things that are inevitable. at the position that you are in right now, you won't be there for the longest time possible. There are lots of people who will come in. And also, in as much as we are championing for Gen Zs to take part, we will also, in this organization, let us also remember millennials. Like they have the experience, they have the wisdom. And with the experience and the wisdom that they have, and us, we who have fresh minds, creative ideas and everything, if we match these two, we're going to have a very good future. Even if it is in terms of the organization, things are going to work well. And the future is there and it's for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Bosire,
Yeah.
closing remarks.
Thank you. So mine is to say that a lot of young people are very concerned about their future, about the future of the country. And as they develop their careers, it's good that they get platforms where they can express these ideas, innovation, and develop these products that could be really awesome solutions to significant challenges in the public sector market. And I would also like to thank my CEO for enabling this to happen. He's one of those people who has recognized the change that is going on in the country and has set up interventions in place to make sure that, to spit in our cut.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're moving with the market to stay relevant and to make sure we are part of the community.
Asante. Asante. Ms. Gathu.
For me, it's a wake-up call. Yeah. It's high time organizations we embrace this generation and also be open to feedback. Let's hear each other out. Of course, the millennials have their own wisdom, and at the same time, the Gen Zs have their own wisdom. Let's sit down together and understand one another, hear each other out, so that we can be able to move the corporates to the next level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Your time is so much appreciated. That is Allan Bosire, who is a software engineer, and also Ms. Grace Gathu and Sophia Okello, all from Jambopay, joining us here on Good Morning Kenya to talk about how organizations can align their strategies to meet the new realities. And I hope you have learned a thing or two. This is where we end this conversation, but don't go too far. Vivian will be back with more.